Welcome to an episode, Chat Sports Talk. Welcome to Week 17 of the 2025 NFL season. Very close to the end times of the season, and a lot of things have happened. A lot of teams have been knocked out. We've seen teams bench quarterbacks and went to another quarterback just to rust their star because, well, they're injury prone. And we're seeing some wild games. And we have teams that should be in the playoffs. I think everyone had them locked in the playoffs, not making it. So before we dive into Week 17 and the whole holiday bash that's going to go on, let's look back at Week 16. Once again, I went 12-4. I think there's like a couple of games on there that I didn't know which way I was going to go. One of them did go the opposite direction, which I almost went with, but didn't. One, I just picked the wrong one. I wasn't thinking correctly. I heard rumors about someone being benched, but he actually was benched because they were actually eliminated from the playoffs, and I thought they still had a shot. So that's me being dumb in that part. Just kind of look back at Week 12, and the races for the playoffs are getting smaller. So last Thursday, the Rams visit the Seahawks. This one, I was like, avoid if you can, because I was unsure. I just went with the Rams because they were the better team going there. But Seattle came in there hot to trot, and these two went at it back and forth. And Seattle actually came back in the fourth quarter. This was another wild fourth quarter comeback. And what the only one this past week. And they were trailing, and all of a sudden, the switch went off on the Rams completely. They just stopped doing anything. They couldn't get Matthew Stafford couldn't get that offense going at all. You know, Puka Nacua, they have some great plays, massive touchdown runs, and appropriate comments. But the Seahawks just kept battling back. Sam Darnold was like, no, just watch me cook. I'm the captain now, as he was saying. And he led the team back to tie the game, win the overtime. In overtime, they marched down the field. Well, when both teams are going ahead to the playoffs, well, at that time frame, Seahawks hadn't clinched yet. Clinching, they won, they would clinch their spot. But I have a feeling they were going to clinch it anyways if they lost. But they am doing it and go for two. It's like, well, why not? And they got it. Not to mention, there was already a 2-point play earlier. I kind of jumped ahead of myself that after review, it was turned to be a backwards pass, hit a a Ram on his hand and head. If it wasn't for a Seahawk touching it in the end zone, the play would have been blown dead, and then no points were awarded. But I forget the Seahawks' name, but he was. It's like, well, now I'm just going to go in there and touch the ball in the end zone. And there you go, 2 points. Wild and craziness could continue. On Saturday, we had the Eagles and the Commanders colliding in D.C. Mariota was the quarterback. He actually put up some decent numbers. Philly still looks a little rough around the edges. I'm not sure if this is going to continue, but the rushing attack is null and void. I mean, it's not really there. Saquon didn't really have much of an impact. There's more Jalen Hurts passing the ball. Maybe more of him passing would help alleviate some of the pressure of Saquon, and he's able to bust out some plays. But the rushing attack for the Eagles is missing this year. I mean, yeah, you still can get those plays there so often. I mean, that's just nature of football. And their defense looks like they're kind of, settling in, but we'll have to see because they got a huge game coming up. And then the other Saturday game, holy crap. The Packers and the Bears going at it. Jordan Love did get knocked out. Now, the unnecessary roughness of a roughing the passer call, Yeah, I get it. Because it did look pretty, but he was standing up straight and hit him. Jordan Love did dip his head, so that kind of made the impact a little bit more dangerous for him. But it was face mask to face mask, which you're not supposed to hit in the head, period. So, thus the penalty. And that's brought in Malik, the old Liberty quarterback that went to Tennessee and never meant anything, became the backup in Green Bay. And he actually had decent run. But the Bears defense just kind of kept things close. I mean, he only allowed the Green Bay to get the 16th, that was it. They got the field goal late in the fourth quarter, made 9 points, got the onside kick, recovered the onside kick, which is a feat that doesn't really happen that much. And then once again, the Bears scored a touchdown. Guy open in the back of the corner of the end zone. No one around him. The Green Bay guys were looking at going, mine. And no, just went there. And then the fourth overtime, Chicago stopped him because of a botched snap by Malik Willis. And Bears stopped it because I think it was like a fourth down play. Caleb Williams just throws a dart in the end zone, and the Bears went in overtime, clinching their playoff berth. The Cardiac Bears are back in the playoffs. Now, do I think they're going to be doing much of anything? I don't think so. But if this team continues to manifest stuff the way it is, do what they did against Philadelphia, and just run all over them, play Green Bay really tough. The only teams I think they're going, we'll find out what happens next week because they got to take on another NFL-bound franchise in the NFC. That might be a future heads up. But the Bears look like a dangerous team because they're unpredictable, and that's the most dangerous part. But then Sunday, Buffalo heads to Cleveland. Cleveland put up a fight towards the end, but Buffalo's going to hang on 23-20. Down Big D. Chargers too much for the Cowboys, 34-17. Kansas City went to Tennessee. Kansas City was leading early, but then Gardner Minshew is actually out with an injury. So the Chiefs' season is completely kaput. I wouldn't be surprised if Travis Kelce just sits out, or some of the other stars just don't play anymore. It's like, screw it, we're done. I don't know, but Chiefs season is completely done. Remember, they're out of the playoffs first time in over a decade. It's the Titans, as I predicted, got the victory. Down in Miami, I picked Miami, and they're hosting Cincinnati. And I thought Miami still was in the playoff hunt. They were already eliminated. Tua was benched. So a lot of different meme accounts flowing out there about that. And I'm like, Ewers was named the starter. I still picked Miami just because there's nothing for either one of these teams to play for. Cincinnati was like, well, we're just going to run up the score and beat Miami 45-21. The Jets went down to New Orleans. The Saints won, like I figured they would, 29-6. Minnesota and the New York Giants battled it out in the Big Apple at MetLife. Back and forth game. Vikings able to hold off the Giants 16-13. Tampa Bay goes to Carolina. Clash for the NFC South, who will have the controlling interest headed out because they will face off in Week 18 for a divisional crown, more likely. And I picked the Panthers to win. And lo and behold, the Buccaneers' losing streak continues at the wrong point of the season. They lost again, 23-20. Jacksonville goes up to Mile High, take on the Broncos. I picked the Jags to upset Denver. This could be a AFC Championship game preview because the Jags looked really good and had a nice comfortable lead for most of the game and beating the Broncos 34-20. Atlanta heads out to Arizona. Atlanta was too much for the Cards, 26-19. Pittsburgh and Detroit. This one, I went with Detroit because I figured the way the team is structured, they'll do really good. DK Metcalf was going to cost the Steelers because he got an altercation with a fan, and he's been suspended 2 games. So the last 2 games, Aaron Rodgers doesn't have DK available. There's still other receivers with the Steelers that he starts to hook up with, like Varamuth. But DK was a deep threat, so that's going to change the entire aspect of the Steelers. But they have a nice rushing attack now with Warren, and the Steelers are able to hold on. And the problem with Detroit, they were coming back towards the end. This is another fourth quarter comeback. 2 offensive pass interferences, negated touchdowns that would have gave the win to Detroit, including the last one when Amon-Ra Brown pushed off on the defender, caught the ball, was stopped, even though the whistle wasn't blown, was able to toss it back to Jared Goff, who went into the end zone. Would have been a remarkable play if St. Brown didn't push off the defender to create the OPI. So Detroit actually saw themselves in the foot, but that narrows down the NFC with their loss. That got the Bears in. That got the 49ers in. Then the Raiders went down to Houston and actually played tight with the Texans. Gave the Texans everything they could handle. Houston's able to win an ugly game, 23-21. On Sunday night, the Patriots went down to Baltimore. I picked Baltimore to win that game, but the Patriots, which is a little bit better controlled. Lamar got knocked out in the second quarter of that game. They kind of changed the dynamics a little bit, but Huntley's a very good, competent quarterback with him, but they went away from King Henry completely. It's like some of these head coaches are just afraid of their running backs, of using their running backs. And Zay Flowers had a nice run, catch and run, but ended up getting the ball knocked out. That was it. The game was over. New England actually went out 28-24. And then Monday night between the 49ers and Colts, old man Rivers is out there throwing the rock around. The 49ers pretty much had the game, most of it. Kittle got hurt again, so we'll see if he's be able to go against Chicago next week. But Rivers was actually beating himself, talking a lot of trash. That's one of his things. He knows how to do that. Walking up now because apparently he's a high school football coach, so he's still got that coach mentality going as he's walking up and down the field. And even though Rivers looked pretty much where he was before he retired, it wasn't enough. The 49ers were able to hold on, beat the Colts 48-27. Dive into week number 17 as we look at this full slate of action, including huge showdowns on Christmas Day. If you have Netflix, congratulations. You get 2 games that don't matter at all. And I guess when they start divvy up these games and when NFL come up with these matchups, they figured they would have more of an impact. But Dallas and Washington, nothing to play for between these two at all. Mariota get Prescott, and we'll just kind of go down here. Like I said, both teams, nothing to play for. This is all for pride. This is all for not really. Dak Prescott overall has had a very good season. Over 4,000 yards passing with 28 touchdowns, 10 picks. And he's actually putting up some MVP-style numbers. But I think he's on the outside looking in when it looks like MVP discussions. And right now, analytics likes the Cowboys 56%. The Lions in favor of Dallas at 3%. I have no problems with that either. Dallas wins in D.C. We'll head over to Minnesota as the Vikings play host to the Lions, and this is going to be a key matchup for Detroit. Detroit needs this win to stay alive. Minnesota has nothing to play for, so they can play spoilers. But a lot of question marks right now with that Vikings offense is going to make things difficult for them coming up. And the Lions, like I said, they need this win. They need to shake off what they did against the Steelers. Get back to basics. Don't push off of the defenders to catch the ball. Jared Goff has also had pretty much a MVP-style season as well, over 4,000 yards, 32 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. But Detroit analytically is favored at 68%. The Lions at 3.5. I'm going with Detroit as well. Even though I could see Minnesota sneaking this one out just because they'll go in there and play for it. But if Detroit gets that win, then it gives them a shot in the final week against Chicago, possibly making the playoffs. And then over on Amazon, we head over to the Meadowlands as the Broncos and the Chiefs collide. Like I said, the Chiefs have nothing. Minshew being hurt will actually help out, will hurt as well. Not to mention you got a bunch of concussions on the receivers. Like I said, the Chiefs season is just pretty much done. And Denver's got to try to rebound from the disappointment they did against Jacksonville. Best way to do about it is go against their greatest rival. Analytics likes them at 56%. The line right now is at 5.5 for Denver. I don't see any issue with that one. I am taking Denver. Now, Saturday, we're going to head over to L.A., and the Chargers play host to the Texans with a possible AFC playoff showdown over there on the NFL Network. Now, these two would definitely go at it. C.J. Stroud put up some good numbers, 2,600 yards passing, 16 touchdowns, 6 picks on shortened season because, remember, he's been injured for a few games. Justin Herbert himself, almost 3,500 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, 12 picks, and these guys are riding high on their teams right now. Houston just continues to find ways to win. Chargers, I mean, not to mention they beat both Super Bowl participants from last year by the skin of their teeth, but they keep finding ways to win. And you look at the Texans, they've struggled against teams, but still end up winning. And, does that trait continue? Does a defense really try and stifle the Chargers' offense? And that's going to be a key factor. Analytics right now favor of the Chargers at 52%. The Lions in favor of the Texans at 1.5. This is a coin flip. I'm going more in favor of that Houston front line stepping up. But Houston offensive line looked really, really bad against the Raiders. And that really helps the Chargers defense's front because they get back there and disrupt C.J. Stroud. That's going to cause a huge commotion anyways. But with Nico Collins being very healthy, of course, he's a 1,000-plus yard receiver, 6 touchdowns. Chargers got to try to take him out, or at least eliminate, not take him out. That's a bad way to put it, but limit his exposure or his touches of the ball. So Houston got to get creative. Question marks by both teams at running back right now. So I'm taking Houston just on the defensive side of the ball, but I know it's going to be a close game. I think, like I said, this is going to be a coin flip between these two. And it should be very entertaining. And like I said, could be a possible preview of an upcoming playoff game. And then on Peacock, so as you see, a lot of these games are sitting behind a paywall this weekend. The Packers play host to the Ravens. And the Packers' playoff hopes and divisional hopes are on the line. Same thing with the Ravens. The Ravens need this win. And they continue to shoot themselves in the foot. And it's irritating if you're a Ravens fan because they have all that talent there and just can't seem to get out of their own way. Lamar right now is questionable with a back. They've been re-aggravated, so Huntley more likely will be the starter. Jordan Love is also questionable as well with concussion, thanks to the Bears. There's other question marks also on that Packers offense. The defense was good for 3 quarters against Chicago, but that fourth quarter they collapsed. Not having Micah Parsons really hampered them a bit because he's been heart and soul that Packers front, and he's been living up to it. I mean, he had 12.5 sacks in the season. I mean, nothing like Myles Garrett. I mean, right now he's tied with the most sacks in NFL history. But the Packers are getting all these tough teams now, and it's really hampering them. I mean, yeah, they beat Detroit, beat Chicago, then they lost to Denver, lost to Chicago. Then they got this Ravens team that's going to give them more than they can handle. And then not to mention the Ravens, they got to find ways to win because they split with Cincinnati, lost to Pittsburgh, lost to New England. They need to get this win because I'd have that game later in the season against Pittsburgh to really put their playoff hopes on the line. And Huntley and the Ravens do better than Malik Willis and the Packers. At least they have at least one more week to determine if they can get in or not. This is it for the Ravens. This is do or die. Right now, it's pretty much even analytically. Ravens has a 50.2%. And the line gives it the Packers at 2.5. This is going to be close. I think Jordan Love should be able to play this week, which would change the entire dynamic. But other question marks on that Packers offense against a Ravens defense that really needs to buckle up. And the Ravens offense needs to rely on Derrick Henry. And that's one thing they have not been doing. He's a 1,200-plus yard rusher with 12 touchdowns. And towards the end of the game last week against the Patriots, they went away from him. Just went away from him. And then they get him the ball, have his presence felt. But I'm giving the Ravens the slight edge to win on the road. Back to our regularly scheduled program. On Sunday, we head to the jungle of Cincinnati as the Bengals play host to the Cardinals. I'm not going to get much into any one of these teams have anything to really play for. Analytics like Cincinnati, 65%. The Lions at 5.5 favor the Bengals. The way they play against Miami, I have no problems. I think Arizona's going to make this more of a game than I think what the information is. Just this is how Arizona is kind of being lately. But yeah, there's definitely going to be some issues. I mean, and I think Cincinnati's going to pull away and have an easy victory, I think. Steelers way up to Cleveland. Cleveland had some great aspects of their season last week against Buffalo, where they were trying to come back, but Junkins is gone. I mean, he had a nasty injury. So I don't expect him to come back. You're not going to get him out at all. Myles Garrett, it's just a half sack away from setting NFL record. He's right now tied with TJ Watt. So that'd be great to see him break the record against the Steelers, get it on Aaron Rodgers. I would just love that personally. But I think that's the only highlight you'll have for Cleveland, is I think Myles Garrett's going to break the record. Because right now analytics is all over Pittsburgh, 77%. The Lions at 3.5. Pittsburgh wins this game. That's it. Baltimore's postseason is done, and I don't see any way of this one changing. And I'm taking the Steelers to win. Then I head to Nashville. The Saints come to town. Cam Ward and the Titans look good against the Chiefs. Sog has really presented himself as the QB1 for the Saints. He has almost 1,800 yards passing with 7 touchdowns. Ward, over 2,800 yards passing, 13 touchdowns. Both of them have way too many picks. Their defenses are decent. So on the basis of building for next season, this is going to be a good game for that aspect. Outside of that, no one's going to care. I don't expect to see a lot of fans in the seats over there in Nissan, but there should be, like I said, 2 young quarterbacks going at it, trying to build up momentum, experience for next season. And it looks like the Saints fit 6%. The point spread's 1.5. Saints is on a 3-game tear right now. Tennessee's won 2 of the past 3 games. This is going to be a close game. But I'm going to take the Saints to win on the road. I think just the Saints, just the way they're playing right now, it might just win out the rest of the season. But I do kind of like where the Saints are kind of trajecting right now. Then we have to Indianapolis as the Jags come to town, take on the Colts. It's going to be a AFC South showdown. Indianapolis need this win to stay in the hunt. They lose, that's it. Their season is done. Phillip Rivers, game number 3. I think he's going to get better. I mean, just look at what he did with Seattle. He managed to keep that team within pace of Seattle. With the 49ers, he kept pace with the 49ers for most of the game. So it's just going to be a matter of time. You got to get Jonathan Taylor, which kind of been a moot point. So right now I think that puts his MVP numbers down because he has over 1,400 yards on the ground, 17 touchdowns. He's a running back, so don't expect him to win MVP, but I think his name is going to be on there. Trevor Lawrence will start seeing a resurrection of his career late with the Jacksonville this season. Over 3,400 yards passing, 26 touchdowns, 11 picks. And today, almost 1,000 yards. Went away. 7 touchdowns. Right now, the Jaguars are playing with tenacity to put themselves in front in this division and trying to get themselves in a good position to get into that playoffs. So right now, analytics is all over Jacksonville at 60%. The line's at 5.5. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than that one. I think the Colts will play kind of tough. But I'm not going to really push back too much of that one. Jaguars. And then you had Tampa Bay needing a win desperately. Head down to South Beach, take on Miami. And Tampa Bay has been on this massive, massive losing streak. Losing 3 straight, especially divisional games. And this is what kind of they need to redirect themselves, put themselves back into position. Right now, Miami's also on a 2-game losing streak, but you also got to think Tua's been benched in favor of Ewers. But Baker and company need to get back into it. Right now, the Bucs analytically a favorite 69%. The line's at 3, favor of the Bucs. I have no quarrels with either one of these, but I do think because Tampa Bay's playing the way they've been playing lately, they're going to struggle. Miami's going to make this close, but I think Tampa's going to find a way to edge them out at the end. The Patriots will head to MetLife, take on the Jets. Yeah, the Jets. We're not going to spend too much time on that. Analytically, New England's favorite 71%. The line's at 9.5. I think if the Patriots win this game, that's it. They got the division. But, yeah, this is going to be just one-sided affair. Pats. And you got Seattle heading out to Charlotte. And this is going to be a huge matchup between Seahawks and Panthers. Panthers right now, it's got that slight edge in Tampa Bay. If Tampa Bay wins Miami and Carolina loses, that means that their game in the season is for the divisional crown and that last in the 4th seed in the playoffs. Seattle is looking to continue their push to be the number 1 team, something they haven't done since the Pete Carroll days. But being 12-3, they're in a excellent position to just solidify their position and move forward. And Sam Darnold is having a phenomenal season right now. Over 3,700 yards passing, 24 touchdowns, but 13 picks. Yeah, Walker being the leading rusher for the Seahawks at almost 880 yards, 5 touchdowns. But they're a 2-headed monster back there, so it doesn't really matter. And then you got Bryce Young, who's actually found himself having a pretty good year so far. Not really game, but year. Over 2,600 yards, 21 touchdowns, 9 picks. Dowell, a very good running back for him, 1,000-yard rusher, 6 touchdowns. The defense has been kind of, good. I mean, they've been splitting back and forth, winning and losing. The Seahawks just continue to find ways to win. Some really close games, especially against the Rams and Colts, really elevated their status. But looking at the season, this is going to be the part where Carolina probably loses. Analytics. Like Seattle, 68%. The line's at 7.5. Right now, the way Seattle's playing, I see no issues with that one. And like I said, this is since they like to win and lose, alternate between the two, this is the time for them to lose because they won last week. So, Seahawks. Giants and Raiders collide out there in Allegiant Stadium. Yeah, it's going to be Geno Smith or Jackson Dart. Who are you going to take? The Raiders looked really good last week. I think they're starting to click. A little too late. Way too late. But the Giants, analytically, are favored at 53%. The Lions are favored the Giants at 3. I like the Raiders in this one too much. Max Crosby is going to be a force in that backfield. Jackson Dart's going to have a hard time keeping him straight. And if Geno Smith can get rid of some of the monkeys he has on his back this season, and Genty can actually get rushing attacks and good openings for him to exploit, it's going to be a long day. But I'm going to take the Raiders to win at home. And a good matchup over there in Western New York as the Eagles come to town, take on the Bills. Is this a Super Bowl preview? Some of us said yes in the beginning of the season. And right now, probably not. The Bills are going to get in the Bills are in the playoffs. They'll be a road team. They're not going to see themselves probably get any higher than fifth. Because I don't see them overtaking the Patriots. Right now, the Patriots have this phenomenal season going for them, and kudos to them. Eagles are struggling, and they keep finding ways to hurt themselves. But the Bills will find ways to keep the game close. You'll look at the past two games. I mean, had they come back winning against New England, they held on to beat the Browns, came back to beat the Bengals. So the Bills keep shooting themselves in the foot, but then they find ways to, patch the hole and win somehow. And the Eagles right now have been lucky the past 2 weeks. They destroyed the Raiders, but that's the Raiders, and then they were able to edge out Washington. So it's 2 in a row. Does that mean they're back? I don't think so. I really don't. And there's a lot of things. You just look what the Bears did to them, and if the Bills can do the exact same thing with Cook, 1,500-yard rusher, Josh Allen right now, questionable with a foot, so we'll kind of see how that one plays out. But if they run, they push on that rushing ability with Cook, I think it's going to be a good game for them. Right now, Analytics likes the Bills at 50.3%. The line's a favorite of Bills at 3. I don't disagree with that either. I think it's going to be a really close game, and I'm taking the Bills to win at home. Bears and 49ers. Is this a NFC Championship game preview? Yeah, I went there. Right now, the Bears are playing. Caleb Williams has really found himself in this offense. He's really came alive. 3,400 yards passing, 23 touchdowns, 6 picks. These Cardiac Bears keep finding ways to come back in the fourth quarter. DeAndre Swift, almost 1,000-yard rusher with 7 touchdowns. He's like got DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, right now, who's a questionable at foot. But the other receivers they had have stepped up when these other guys were missing. 49ers got some issues. Kittle with his ankle may not be there. Purcell also questionable with the knee. So he definitely got some aspects with that. But that Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy are just two dynamic individuals that are going to find ways. But Brock's going to give you interceptions. The Bears' defense has been pretty good at doing turnovers. Special teams have also kind of stepped up a bit as well. So something else you got to watch out for. And the 49ers analytically are favored at 61%. They also have their favorite at 3. So with that being said, and the way the Bears have been playing lately, they won 2 in a row. I mean, they lost in Green Bay. Was a fourth quarter interception that sealed the deal. But the 49ers keep finding ways to win. Game, I want to jump on that Bears bandwagon and really kind of ride that high they got going right now, but I can't fully jump on board on that. I do think the Bears are going to win the division. I think the Bears are going to find themselves in a good position in the playoffs. Probably win the first round, maybe the second round too. Who knows? But I don't know, just something about this 49ers offense. It just, you have to worry about that, and there's just too many factors that the Bears have to try to counter. Now, do I think they can do that? They can. I mean, they stifle Green Bay. Yeah, they got a little rough for the quarterback. But you knock out Brock Purdy. Then you got Mac Jones coming back, coming in to fill out the void, and that's a dual-headed quarterback we're worried about, and that's going to be hard to do. So I'm taking the 49ers to win at home, to keep pace with the Seahawks for that division title. And then Monday night, we had a hot Atlanta as the Rams come to town. Atlanta has nothing to play for. Kirk Cousins will probably have a good game. Matthew Stafford's putting up MVP-style season, over 400 yards, 40 touchdowns, 5 picks. This offense is just buzzing. It's that defense that's going to kill them, because that defense keeps allowing teams to stay in the match and find ways to win games. Look at Seattle. Seattle came back because all of a sudden the offensive line stopped working, and then winning in the end. Detroit put up a lot of points on them, but they were able to sneak out with that victory. And then Arizona, well, no, it's just Arizona. And then Carolina surprised them. So the Rams right now, I think, are running out of steam a bit. And that's going to be a hard-pressed thing to do. So it's going to be a key point for Bijan Robinson to really step up and try to exploit some possible rushing holes. Kirk Cousins, a wise veteran quarterback, maybe not as accurate, but could find ways to really elevate this team as much as possible. But analytics is all over the Rams at 72%. It has the Rams at 8.5. I don't know. I might take the Falcons for the points just because I think it will be like a 7-point victory. I do think the Rams are going to end up winning this game, but I do think Atlanta's going to make this a little bit closer than what they're trying to say. But I'm taking the Rams to win, and we'll kind of see how this one plays out in terms of the playoffs. I think more teams will find ways to get in there and make that last week of the season really, really mean something. Well, let me know down below what you think about my picks, who you think I got wrong. Are you happy where your team's at this season? Which surprise team are you rooting for this playoff? Because right now, I mean, Chiefs are gone. So who's your favorite in the AFC? Baltimore could be gone. Buffalo doesn't look that good. Do we go back to the Patriot way? Or do the monsters of the Midway all of a sudden arrive and take over? Maybe the Rams win another one. Let's mix it up in the comments below. The more interact, the better boost the YouTube algorithm. The higher the algorithm is, the more faces get to see me just rambling away. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up. You want to further support this channel, the best way to do that is to subscribe. You do is hit that subscribe button, click that bell of content notification. Next time I post any more content on my channel. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.